It's processed food.
Oh, please, Jim. All right, let me make sure the camera is working, and there, the audio should be working correctly. Yeah, I think so. Just make sure. All right, what are we doing tonight? We are, once again, we are doing a review of PLA. Specifically lightweight PLA, because we have some interesting projects coming up. So I'll say that real quick. This is one of them in my hand. Well, part of the one in my hand. The other two are here. And I had some boo-boos. I had some boo-boos printing stuff and whatnot. And but yeah, we're working through the boo-boos, working through all the problems, and we're figuring out a lot of stuff. Checking out their expander, see what he's doing. But anyway, I was going to do a quick review real quick on the difference between Polymaker and eSun. So I got eSun running over here and Polymaker running over here. Two different manufacturers of lightweight PLA. Okay? Lightweight PLA. Which I will actually, I don't think I have a I don't think I have a mock-up in regular PLA. Okay? But, yeah. I need to print one of those out to show you the difference. But there's plenty of videos out there, so I don't need to really show you that. So, one thing I was going to show you was the difference in what I'm getting between the two printers. These printers are pretty similar. This one, the only difference is, this is Ender S1, Ender V2 Neo, whatever the hell Neo means, just a few upgrades. But this is a dual axis arm, and this is a single. But I've got them pretty much working the same. Okay? Few things. Make sure I'm in the frame here. I have had a few issues. I've been pretty much, because what I'm trying to do is I print the same plane with two different materials. I had some screw-ups on the wing. This is not the first one I've kind of printed this plane, which is the Eclipson Model B, which you can find on their website. I bought the print for it, pretty reasonable, and I thought, okay, well, I'm just going to dive into this thing, right? Which is not that bad. It's really not that bad of a hard thing to set up. You have to, if you can go check out Tommy McMillan, grab his profiles and learn how to do a setup. The lightweight PLA is not that hard. But I'm going to show you the difference between the eSun and the Polymaker, right? Okay, so we printed, which is the fuselage of the Eclipson B. We multi-printed these. We actually made some changes. But anyway, we've multi-printed these at least twice, and I'm going to show you the difference. In fact, I'm going to show you the difference in the weight. Even with the same profile on Cura, I'm going to show you the difference that has happened between both of these. Now, I can adjust this. I actually like the Polymaker a little bit more. But I don't think my profile is set up exactly right. But I'll show you that here in a second. So anyway, I'll show you the differences, and I'll show you the weight differences, and I'll show you the, pull out the micrometer, I'll show you the single wall, even with the same Cura profile, I'll show you the differences, okay? Yeah. When I say Cura profile, it's the difference between the Ender V2 Neo and this one, right? Well, there's not a Neo on Cura, so you have to just go with the V2. But anyway, I'll show you the difference between the two pretty quickly, actually. So the first thing, I think you'll notice if I do the squishy test, right? It's just the squishiness of the walls between the two. I don't know if it really translates with this wall. And you'll see in a second when I measure this wall thickness. It's a lot more squishy with this one. Why? Well, for that, I had to break out the old micrometers and check out the wall thicknesses between the two. And I will say that the only thing I'm not too happy about between the two is this one's great. Okay, the stringing. So if I can get behind the camera and see how the stringing looks. I don't know if you can see that in there. This one has no stringing at all. You're going to see stringing in this one. I don't know if it's hard to see because it's black. But you're going to see some stringing in here. Now, printing with lightweight PLA, this is a foamish type material. Apparently you're going to always have stringing. My stringing is pretty negligible, honestly, compared to some prints I have seen. And really, if you want to clean it up, you just either get an X-Acto knife or just pull it out with the finger. It's not attached to anything, so it doesn't affect the quality of the print. So, Polymaker versus eSun. Same print, two different printers, almost the same Cura profile, except I modified it slightly to just be on the Ender 3 versus the Ender 3 V2 versus the S1. And yeah, there are some differences, but I think I can get them a little closer together. But let's check out the stats on this. So, first thing we'll check out is the wall thickness of the. This is the first print I did with the. This is the eSun print. Okay, so wall thickness. I don't know if you can see it. I'm wearing the camera in here a little bit. Hold on, so you can see some light. All right, wall thickness on this one. Let's see if I can get a shot. 0.58. That translate. 0.64. 0.58. 0.60. Let's try this side. A little bit thicker on the round. Let's try the middle wall here. So about 0.82. So the original profile said for a 0.85 wall thickness. So that's about what we have. Okay, it's a little squishy. In fact, it flexes and all that stuff, but it is solid. I can't pull it apart. Hardly any string. A little bit of string, but I cleaned it up. This stuff inside here, whatever. Okay, so let's check the wall thickness of this, and then we'll check weight real quick, and then I'm going to end the video. Okay, so this is the Polymaker, right? So wall thickness on this one, let's check the same thing, right? So we're going to come around here. Let's check wall thickness again. A little bit more. Okay, so wall thickness on this a little bit more. Not too much different, but I will tell you it's a lot stiffer. Okay, I don't know how to describe it, but it's a lot stiffer. Let's check wall thickness over here. 0.58. So we're getting about the wall that we need to on this. Let's see, that was a turn the thing into the camera so you guys can see what I'm getting. But we're about 0.58 all the way around, and I don't have any other walls I can actually measure, but I think I measure right here in the middle. .64, something like that. Okay, so we're a little bit thicker on this one versus the eSun. Just a little bit. What this is where we're measuring approximate 0.58 on this one. Okay, so what is it? A tenth? No, 100. Can't do math. You ask me to do math. What's up, Mr. Morgan? Yo, what's up, man? Now we're just farting around with this, all these things right here. So yeah, I think the difference is, I don't know if it's the difference between the material or whatever, but it's the same Cura, it's the same profile, Cura, but we're definitely getting about, well, no, certain walls, like if I really measure that and squish down on it, about the same thing. So 0.56, 0.58 even on the Polymaker, right? So let's go to weight. Let's go to weight. So if wall thickness is about the same, the only thing we have to go to now is weight. So we'll kick it over here. We'll go down to the digital scalio. And so we'll test the two, right, for weight. If the wall thickness is the same, the weight should be the same, almost. All depends, that's what we're testing, right? So Polymaker versus eSun. So we'll test the eSun first because that's what we started with yet, and hopefully let's get it in here so you can read the camera, read the scale a little bit. And I gotta get it up on there because it looks like stupid stuff, something like that, and it still looks dumb. We gotta do put something to like. Oh, honestly, this is why I like LEDs anymore because LEDs in the camera do not translate unless you get it a certain way. But anyway, so let's take it off with all this bullshit actually and just flatten that out. Alright. Now you can read. Now we're cooking. Okay. So let's check this out. Let's put the eSun on there. What does that read? 186.4 on the eSun, right? Same wall thickness. Let's check out what the Polymaker is. Almost, I can just feel my hand. I can tell you it's, I don't know, 255. 255. Huge difference in the weight. Why that is, I have no idea. I'm going to have to just, I don't know. I have no idea what the weight difference is on the same Cura profile and all that stuff. But definitely, we've got about, what is that, 60 gram of difference? What's that? Somebody do math. 186 and 2, what do we say there? 186 and, what did I say, 250? 255. So what is that math real quick? 255, wow, that's quite a bit. That's 90 grams, right? Something like that. That's a pretty big difference between the two, actually. Now, if I think about it. Not that we can overcome it. We're just, it's not a problem with power and all that stuff. It's just a matter of figuring out. It will come a difference when we have to do CG and all that stuff. I do have to think about and keep all this stuff in my head because models do have to have a CG on them if you're actually going to try to fly them. And so if you get the CG all screwed up, well, yeah. So, I thought it was pretty interesting type of material. And the material is really interesting, right? We've got a lot of different materials up here. Quite a few different filaments. Everything from PETG to PLA and different colors and whatnot. But right now, the foam stuff is the most important. I got some Star Wars stuff. And some Star Blazers. And some Dungeons and Dragons. But anyway, back to this stuff. Yeah, so the next thing we're going to do, since we have screwed up a few different, we have, just be honest with it, testing all this stuff, number one, I shouldn't have done two at a time. That's the first thing, is like, seriously, like a new hobby, you're really going to think you're badass enough. You're going to try to conquer a new hobby. Hey, let's learn how to play 2 guitars at the same time, and then have 2 cover bands, and like assembling them and putting them all together. Why not? Well, alright. I figured, might as well have, to be honest with it, I didn't think I was actually going to print 2 planes at the same time. I started at 1 plane, and then 1 plane print screwed up, but I was printing other stuff. Anyway, I was getting confused. So now I've got logs going. I have logs going now for what I'm printing and what's on the printer, what's on the SD card, so I don't get confused. Same thing for this one over here, because they're running all the time. So, yeah, it's going to be, so I had to go back and, well, let's just show you. I might as well just, this is the box of shame. Jesus Christ, that thing. So, and I feel really bad about this box of shame. But so far, this is my box of shame. It's filling up. I don't know what to do with any of this stuff. I mean, these are just prints that you can just crunch and crack and it's you know, yeah. But this is my box of shame. It's getting bigger. Not gonna lie. I don't know what to do with it. There's not that bad stuff. It's just stuff that didn't adhere and all kinds of like rafts and yeah. That's my box of shame. So hopefully, after that box of shame, the box of shame grew really quickly, and we're trying to make the box not grow anymore so we actually know what the F we're doing. You know what I'm saying? I honestly don't know what the F I'm doing, because any new craft, you have to learn what the F you're doing. So we got 2 guitars playing at the same time and try to assemble a band together, and yeah. So, I think I've already showed you, I think in the last stream I showed out there the actual fuselage and all that. So what happened was, I have a fuselage that's already pre-built over there. Not pre-built, but it's ready to go. But what I did is I screwed up the wing. I wasn't tracking what I was doing and which one I was printing and all this stuff, so I had printed like 2 of one and 1 of one and missed one, and I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I'm like, Mike, you got to keep record of what you're doing, because you have to. I do it. I put multiple slices on the SD card, and then I'll put them in the printer, and then as I'm coming in and out during the day, maybe for lunch, when I leave in the morning, I'll put one on. I come back for lunch. One's done. I'll come back. You know. So I have several of them already on the SD card, and I get confused of which one I've put on the SD card, because this is a multi-print project. This actual project has probably 40 things you have to print. Some of them you have to print multiple times, so if you don't keep track of what you're doing on the project, you will get lost. Because it's not like a model where you can just clip it off and you can assemble it, and you're like, oh, screwed up, or I broke it, or I lost it. No. You're responsible for printing your own project here and making sure your inventory list is correct. So, and I'm watching chat, by the way, behind me. But nobody's popping on chat. But anyway, so we're going through the next build. Do I have it out here? Yeah, I have it out here. Okay, actually I do have it. I'll show you where I screwed it up. So this was and the fuselage I've already showed, but I'll show you what happened and why I had to scrap it. And it's actually my fault, as it always is. But I had built the wing, so this is the centerpiece, and I had no problem with that. But the first glue together you do is the outside. So you glue, this is a 3-part wing, right? So you actually, it's a 4-part wing. So you have the center, which attaches to the fuselage. Come around this way. center part of the wing, which attaches to the fuselage. This one is 2 parts, right? That you will see one of them running right over here. So you glue these 2 together, which was not that hard to do, right? It's not that hard to do. You see the seam on it and see what the super glue is. I'll get better at that. Okay, so and you can see how it attaches. Well, you can't because I fucked it up. But I'll show you that here in a minute. So anyway, what I was trying to do was I was trying to get the center line lined up with this one. And what I was doing was I was paying attention to the front side that I was looking at, but I wasn't paying attention to the back side. So when I slid it all together and sprayed the CA accelerator on it, this side was not, it had a gap. And I was like, and I looked at it and I was like, oh shit. So I had to basically cut it off. I just broke it off because it had like when I glued it together, it was like this. And I was like, ah shit. But anyway, I'll show you how these pieces actually go together. They have locking panels on them. So this goes in the box of chain as well. Actually, that one's useful. This one goes in the box of chain. Yeah, there's a lot of learning. Almost, and strings back in the day, I guess were not that expensive and not that cheap, but yeah. So how does this stuff go together? Well, interesting fact, right? So this is the same panel that you just saw over there, but they haven't been put together yet. So this is the right side of the wing. Center section will be here, and the tip goes out here. And you'll see, if I can get it on camera, it has these, yeah. So right there, it has these ridges that stick out, and that's the rib, right? And those match up with the female side of the spar, or the ribs of the spar. Okay, so basically, when you CA it together, and the other thing, this one doesn't have it. Some of them do. They have a circle where you insert some filament. They join together, but this one does not. But anyway, when you put it together, it's a pretty interlocking piece, honestly. But you have, well, break it, Mike. It's a pretty interlocking piece, but you have to make sure that you glue it correctly. So I've been thinking about how to glue stuff a little bit better, right? I mean, the tabs are already there, so I think for me, it's going to be like maybe some kind of jig. I'm thinking about that. I don't know, like a rotating jig where I can make sure things are assembled correctly, rotate it around, look at it, and then spray it. So, thinking about that. As far as the quality, I mean, this stuff is pretty legit. Weight, what is the weight on the wing? I actually haven't done that yet. Let's check out the weight. So the weight on this, on the line, let me put you on here. That'll probably be a little better. Alright, so the weight on the wing, let's see. 247. That'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. I think I have the other thing. I need to print the charts out for the weight of all these parts. Because what I need to be doing as each part comes out for Q&A, or quality control, I need to be weighing all these parts to make sure they match the original plans, because those weights are on the original plans, right? So, I'm learning. I'm learning by a whole box of shame, but that's okay, yeah. Now, the other thing, I did acquire that Sukhoi, and I'll show it out here. So, yeah. We did pick up this bad boy. I do have it synced, and I was going to show it. I did buy a battery for it. So it pretty much comes ready to fly, except for put the wings on it and attach all the electronics. Canopy pulls up. I did buy a battery for it. I did buy a Spectrum D6E off of Steven. This is actually Steven's stepdad's plane that he bought. He was going to fly it or whatever. So I don't really have any other problems with it other than There's one setup that's screwed up. So I got to figure out what it is. I thought I had attached everything correctly. So I put the battery on it. Make sure the throttle's down, number one. Okay, it beeps, beeps, beeps. And it flutters. Okay. Everything's attached. The only problem I have here is I'm pretty sure it's in the radio or something. And I'll show it real quick if I can. So, just don't hit the throttle, Mike. So, rudder works. And it actually works the right direction. Is that correct? Yeah, left, right. Okay. Elevator, up, down, works correctly. What doesn't work correctly at this point in time is the ailerons. Those two. So, that one works, the other one doesn't. I don't know why. The radio I know for sure works. What I have, if I take this aileron wire, which is right here, it's right here, coming out of that right wing or left wing, okay, and I unplug it, and I plug in the other one. Okay, so we know that one works. That one should work on the other. We just flipped it, right? And it's this other here. And it still doesn't work. So something's going on with this aileron over here. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if it's, take the wing back off. And I think there's a wire junction in there. We'll make sure it works. But other than that, everything's working on here. Oh, and this thing, holy crap. I will fire it up for a second. Let me check the chat. Okay, I will fire this thing up for a second. Because this thing's crazy. Alright, here we go. Hopefully nothing crazy happens. I'm just going to hold this sucker. Ready? 3, 2, 1. Oh yeah, we're pumping now. Ready? Oh, that's legit, man. It is like, yeah. It's going to be cool. It's going to be scary cool, really, if I ever get it going. So, but anyway, I don't know. I'll have to figure out if I have to replace the servo. No big deal. You can cut it out. Let me unplug the battery. Make sure all that's off. This thing is scary, honestly. If you hit that thing and you weren't prepared for it, you lose a finger, man. For real. All right. So if I did have to replace that servo, let me top back on real quick, so I don't lose my battery. And will I ever fly this thing? Well, I will at some point. I will at some point, just not right now. I'm not really ready for this thing yet. It does have safety mode on it, so if you did go cockeyed, you can get it going. So right here, if I had to cut the servo and replace the servo, right, it's just taped over. So I could just cut the servo out, run a whole new servo down the carbon fiber route there, and be done with it. So we'll check that out. It's a second-hand model, even though it was new in the box, which the box is still sitting here. Box is still sitting here, right? So yeah. But anyway, we'll pop this down. Make sure everything's turned off. Turn that off. And Mr. Morgan, if you're still watching, I have a radio for you that I'm going to give you. If we ever start flying, I'm actually going to build you a drone, by the way. Already been thinking about it. Already been thinking about that. So, and I got a radio for you, so. And I was wondering if that radio would pair up to your drone, but I don't think it will. But you never know. Be right back. So I actually had bought a controller because I wanted to if I wanted to bone up on DRL, it's $9 on Steam, right, to learn how to fly drones, and it's virtual. I have my haven't tried with the Oculus yet, but I will. But anyway, I bought this one first. This is the FlySky FS ST8. Not a bad controller, honestly. But I could not get it to work with, well, I'll say this. I'll show you the controller first, and then I can say why I couldn't get it to work on with Real Pilot or it was a drone simulator that I bought. Anyway, I can't remember what program that I bought on Steam, but it wouldn't work on there. It's a nice controller. I mean, it's not bad at all. Okay, and it's got USB-C on the top of it right here. Okay, it's got 3.5 and USB-C. I didn't try the 3.5 because it's not that hard to set up. I just didn't want to set it up. It should be, to work the 3.5, you got to set up VJoy, and it's all kinds of nonsense to go through. And I was like, okay, why should I have to do that? Just plug the USB-C in and plug it in, and it should recognize it, blah, blah, blah. And it didn't. Okay. Now, given that, you can take the receiver or you can do one of two things. You can use this to fly like DRL and all that stuff. You can. All you got to do is buy a little dongle. Dongle's not that expensive. It's like 14 bucks or whatever. Or you can build your own dongle. Here's the receiver, and you build your own USB dongle if you're good with the soldering iron and all that stuff. So, can use this one. After I found later, there's not a whole lot of documentation on this one. So, but yeah, I will get this working with some 3D printed drones. Oh, and here we've got a piece coming off. So here's an interesting fact, right? So what I do when a piece comes off, I go over here on my list and I mark it that it's printed, right? So that way, and it has nomenclature on which the next one. We'll just peel that off. Put my old man glasses on, make sure it's somewhat decent. We'll take a look at that here in a second. Got a little bit of string on the top of it. Turn the light on, Mike. Jeez. A little bit of string on the top of it. Right here. In between the ribs. And some of the ribs look kind of weird. That's okay. Not a big deal. Not a big deal. So, let's see. Make sure I'm staying straight over here. Alright. I had to make sure all the other stuff's on the table in there, so I had to make sure I'm printing the right one next. That's right. So we're checking that out there, we're checking this in here. So the next one is going to, we'll clear the plate, which is pretty easy to do. Show what I'm doing here. So we'll just clear the plate off, which is just clear all this junk from the nozzle and make sure this test line is off and the bed is somewhat clear. All this stuff that you see, this stuff is cellulose. It's a bed sticker. When I say bed sticker, bed weld. Bed weld or bed sticker. Okay? Honestly, I bought it because I thought I needed it. But I'm getting decent enough now where I've got adhesion. I don't have to worry about it. So, what we'll do... Ooh, got some Stevie Wonder in headset. Turn the light off here. It's actually better if I... There we go. Alright. So, to set up the next print, pretty easy actually. So, we're going to do, we just did one wing, one left. So we need to do one wing, one right. So we'll just go past this. Right? Alright. We need to go back and make sure that we're up to temperature. So we're going to go to manual. We're going to, I have presets for all this, but still we always set it manually. 240. Hit that. I'm going to set the bed temperature to 60. Okay. And we'll set the fan control initially to 51. We'll set it to 50. Okay. And we'll just let it heat up. And how do you know it's heating? You go back to home and you watch it on this top left here. You'll see it heating up. Right. And once it gets, we don't even have to wait for it, honestly. What we can do is, because it's not going to print until it gets ready to print. So we'll go back to print, and we got to search for, what did I say it was? We are on wing 1 right. So we got to find it. Wing 1 right. Where's it at? Is it not on here? Did I not put it on here? That's flapper on. Okay, well, let's do this then. Let's do all the right side. Make sure, let's look through this to make sure we have all of, because let's go all the way back. Center, so we've got the center there. Wing left, we just printed that. We got 2 right, 3 right, which that should be the end of it, and we'll have to go back and add, do we have 2 left on there? 2 left, 2 right. So we have everything on here, correct? So, but we don't have 1 right. That's what we're missing. No, we do have, no, we only have flapper on. So, yeah, we're missing something here. So let's print tonight. Let's go ahead and print the other part of 1 right. Let's go ahead and print the. In fact, let's just go ahead and do this. That's left. So let's go ahead and print all of. Let's print 2 left, 3 left, and 4 left, and be done with the left side. So print 2 left. Right. So print 2 left, and then press print, and it'll do its thing. Okay, so we're going to mark, so we're just going to do the left side. So I'm marking this one on the log over here. I'm marking that we're doing 2 left. Right? Okay. So we'll let that go. We'll turn the light back on. Back away from that for a second. And it should start here in a second. We'll show the start of it. See if we can get down a little bit. Alright, it should auto home. Should auto home, and then it will do its test strip on the test strip that I always talk about. And it waits, even though the temperatures, well, actually we're not at temperature yet. See that? We're not up to the bed temperature yet. Now we are. We got a little bit more to go on the nozzle. Just hit it. Okay, now there's about a 30-second delay. And now it should start doing its thing. And we're putting test strip, right? And there it goes. So this is one continuous print. It does not, there's no retraction on this print. There's no pull up, there's no hopping. It does not move. This is the way the print is designed. It's one circular print, so that's why it's not, you'll never see it jump off the bed. Right? So cool stuff. But yeah, we'll let that one go. Okay, so that's going to be, what did I say it was? 2 left. Okay, then we have 2 more for that, and then we'll have to print the other side. All right, let's check this print over here, and then check this print over here, and then we're going to call it. Make sure that one's running good. Lower you down a bit. Actually, cool if I lowered you down a little bit so you can see what the hell's going on. That a little bit better. A little bit. Maybe. Kind of see what's going on there. Anyway, let's check this one out over here. That print is, it'll tell us here how far it's along. It doesn't really take that long to print these things. We're about 2 hours on that wing part. Not that bad. Not that bad at all. Oh, you know what I didn't do? You know what I didn't do? You need to turn the print speed down to 80%. I find I get a more consistent print if I slow the head down. And what it does is the foam, as it's coming out of the extruder, it actually sits there a little bit longer, so it gets a little bit bigger. If that makes sense. So the flow, I don't want to get to the whole logistics of it, but it's flow rate versus the wall and all this other stuff. So if you slow the printing down, which you can do that right here in the print speed. Okay. So I slid it off to 100 down to 80. All right, let's check this sucker over here. Maybe back the camera out. Whoop. All right. So this is the second part of the fuselage, which will go this way, right? And it seems to be doing pretty well. We're going to let that go, and we have how long? Back over here. 4 hours. Okay, 4 hours. Fuselage and the center stuff takes the most. These center fuselage sections take at least 4 hours. The wing sections take 2 hours. Everything else really doesn't take that long. So you can literally print one of these. That's what my goal was to print. Hopefully, if I actually get it all going, is to at least print one of these a day. Or at least be able to print, you know, one of these a day where if I, because these things are foam. These things are foam, and honestly, they're going to be unpredictable. They're going to crash and burn. So you're going to need to take out there to the field 4 of them, and then, yeah, it's going to be a crash and burn session. But that's how you learn how to fly, and that's how you learn how to build, and that's all, you know. But I have no problems with the crash and burn session. It's just I don't want to be stupid about the crash and burn session and do stupid stuff here where I just make, you know, all that stuff. So, but anyway, all this stuff is working out pretty well. Hopefully we'll come back. The next stream that I come back to, if it's here, is going to be assembling all this stuff. And I will show you the next step, right? So the next step is the motor and ESC and propeller and all that stuff. And it's surprising that it all comes in this small of blocks, right? So, because that plane only weighs like, when it's fully assembled, I have to look, once again, I have to look at plans, I don't remember, but it's just a little bit over 1,000 grams. So, this little bitty ass motor right here, well, I say little bitty ass motor that turns like 80,000 RPM. This little brush is like right here. And it comes, I just bought this kit. It was $29. Comes with the ESC, 2 servos, mount kit, all that stuff in here. So that will go in at least one of these. Okay. And I already have the receiver for it. So that will be for one of these. And I don't know. If the model crashes and burn, you pull the, unless the ESC completely, well, it's very possible that if the ESC completely, if the thing catches on fire, it's all over with. Hopefully it doesn't catch on fire, and you can save the electronics, and if it crashes, you just pull it over and, you know, build a new one, put the electronics in there, be done with it. You know what I'm talking about? So, Shouldn't be a big deal. I know I'm going to crash them. This is part of RC stuff, is you are, just like quads, you are going to crash them all the effing time. But you got to be able to rebuild them. Or whatever. So this is the whole goal here. Why? Because it's fun. And I wanted a lot of these as a kid and I couldn't have them. So now I can make my own. Right? Now I don't have to go down and buy that gigantic. You know how much that model costs? That Sukhoi down there? It's like $400. It's all foam. And I'm like, why is it $400 when you can just print your own? So we're going to try. Tony Mickelman on YouTube, thank you for the inspiration of all this stuff. And we're going to wrap this stream up by saying we're having fun with this. I think we're going to have more fun when we get some assembled and take them out to the field and crash the hell out of them. Given that, I'm going to have a photographer because I'm going to be at the... Well, I don't actually know that I'm going to be at the controls. If I could find somebody else that's a little bit better at RC controls than I am, which I don't know anybody, yeah, I would rather have them at controls so they could trim it up. I think I can... Once again, I don't give any model that I'm building here more than 5 minutes of... I give about between a 30-second and a 5-minute window. And I'll say that if I get it up in the air and I get trimmed out, I will give it a window of the life battery, and that's it. Because once it comes down, all bets are off. Okay, so we will... I was hoping we have people on chat tonight. The chat behind me, I can watch chat, which I think is really cool. And it's on the stream, by the way. So you can see yourself chatting on the stream. But anyway, we will get out of here tonight. We're going to just finish all this stuff up tonight and leave prints running. And arrivederci. Ciao. We'll see you later. And we will catch you on